There is nothing happening on the trade market right now. When is the damn going to break? Let's talk about it. Colby, hit it.
You are Locked On Mariners, your daily Seattle Mariners podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Ahoy, sailors. It is Tuesday, July 29th, 2025. This is Teddy Gonzalez and Colby Patnode for the Locked On Mariners podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, if you want to hear from me and Colby even more and help support the show, you can check out our Patreon. All you have to do to check that out is click the link in the description of this episode. Mariners beat the A's 3-1 last night. We'll talk about that and talk about this trade market that has completely stagnated. But let's start with last night's game. Big win for the Mariners. Astros lost, Red Sox lost, Yankees lost, and the Rangers lost. And the Mariners were able to capitalize on that by defeating the A's last night in Sacramento on the back of a really nice start from Luis Castillo. I was a bit worried how this was going to go for Luis. We obviously know the struggles that he's had on the road. It's a warm night in that AAA ballpark against a team that heavily relies on the home run ball. But he goes 7 innings, gives up just the 1 earned run on 5 hits, 4 strikeouts, no walks. That's nice to see from Luis. Bunch of hard contact, but again, he was able to work around it. Really no damage done whatsoever against him. No, noteworthy damage done against him, at least. And obviously got some big help from Ben Williamson, but we'll talk a little bit more about him later, as well as Josh Naylor. But for now, just tell me what you thought about Castillo's night.
Yeah, pretty good. I mean, look, results wise, 7 innings, 1 run ball. You take that every single time, especially regardless of where it's happening, but especially in that little league ballpark where the ball flies. Very similar to Colorado. It's nuts the amount of runs that are scored in that ballpark. So for Castillo to navigate his way through that lineup, the 1 through 6 for, I'm still going to call them Oakland, is pretty good. Yeah. Like it's a legit 1 through 6. And so I didn't think Castillo had his best stuff last night. That's evident by only 6 whiffs in 7 innings. His velo was also down by about half a tick, give or take. So I don't think he was quite feeling it last night, but because he's Luis Castillo, he's a veteran, right? He's a bulldog, and he found a way to manage his way and work his way through that outing, and so I thought it was really kind of a classic, like, look, I'm the elder statesman of this rotation, even though I'm only 31, 32. Like, I'm the vet here. I'm going to show these guys how it's done, and I'm going to pitch through, some problems. Not a ton of traffic, but enough that he had to make some good pitches to get out of it and to keep his team, with their small lead. So it's one of those things where I thought Castillo really kind of gutted it out. This was a very veteran number 3 type of performance where it's like, look, I don't have my best stuff. This is a bad ballpark for me. This is a good lineup that I'm facing. I'm going to have to find a way to just kind of get outs. It doesn't matter how, I'm going to find a way to get outs. And last night it was basically all fastballs, all 4-seamers and 2-seamers, very few sliders. The slider was actually pretty good last night. I'm surprised he didn't throw more. But he just went right after these guys with the fastball. He wasn't afraid. He was in the middle of the plate at times, and he was still getting fly balls. So a little bit of luck there. And obviously Ben Williamson probably saved at least 2 runs for him. But sometimes that's how it goes. Sometimes the defender doesn't make the play and you give up 5 runs, and you're like, well, that guy makes that one play, I give up 2. So I thought it was a very veteran outing for Luis. I thought it was exactly the type of outing that he needs to give you down the stretch, where it's like, look, my stuff may not be what it is. I may not be the swing and miss guy that I have been, but I can still get big ground balls. I can still get double play balls. I can still throw strikes and avoid walking guys and avoid the home run, which he's doing very well this year. And I'm going to keep my team in it. And that's what he did last night. So again, I don't think this was the best we've seen Luis. I don't think it was really close to the best that we've seen Luis, but it is something that Logan Gilbert hasn't done this year. It's something that George Kirby hasn't done enough this year, where obviously Bryce Miller, but he's was so
Or-
banged up. It's kind of tough to blame him for that.
Yeah.
But when the game gets tight, right, and these situations come up and you need a big pitch, Luis, more often than not, makes that pitch. Logan and George this year, about a 50-50.
They haven't really been able to survive the outings where they haven't had their best stuff.
Right. Where Luis does that regularly. And like I continue to say this, Luis Castillo is the unsung hero of this ball club. He is, he's on pace to be a 3-win pitcher again. He's on pace to give you 180 innings. Like,
I mean, the biggest what if for me of this entire season is what if the Mariners traded him this winter?
Yeah, they got close. So, really, for whatever reason, they didn't, because you imagine this team right now without Luis Castillo and just the steady nature that he's giving you out of this rotation with the injuries to Kirby and Miller and Gilbert and the inconsistency of those guys when they have come back. Like, Castillo, he hasn't been, I'm not telling you he's an all-star anymore. I'm not telling you any of that, but he is still a very good pitcher who is kind of finding a new way to contribute now that he's not missing as many bats as he has in the past. And it's a big deal. Like I would trust Luis Castillo making a playoff start for you, even though he's your fourth best guy. Like, the floor is so much higher with him than it is with Gilbert or Kirby right now. And last night was a good example of why.
Yeah, that's why he's the Rock.
Mm-hmm.
So Ben Williamson, one of the better solo defensive performances I've seen in a while. I don't know if it was what you said about the third base situation on yesterday's show. I don't know if it was my tweets. Also, you had a couple of tweets about him early on in the game after he grounded into that inning-ending double play. I don't know what it was, but something sent Ben Williamson into sicko mode last night for the rest of that one. Made several stellar defensive plays, especially that big diving stop there in the bottom of the eighth where Matt Brash just did not have it whatsoever, but they were able to survive. Ben's able to make that diving stop. He's able to get up in time and step on third for the force out to end the threat. He also collected a couple of hits over the course of the night. Mm-hmm. He was the player of the game for the Mariners by far.
Yeah. Had what we call the Ben Williamson home run, which is where he flips the ball off the end of his bat and it just happens to find the right spot and he gets a double out of it.
A pull side double for Ben Williamson. That was crazy.
Yeah, that he like literally flings the bat at and it loops down, touches right on the line. And
still, it went into left field. I didn't even know that was allowed.
Yeah. I was more impressed by the way he cut the bases on the Cal Raleigh single. Didn't waste a single step. Ben Williamson, I think he's going to be a pretty good major leaguer. I don't think he's going to be an everyday major leaguer, and he definitely shouldn't be an everyday player for a serious playoff team because the dude he's swinging a pool noodle up there. Like, and it's not going to work. But you saw the upside of him last night with the defense. Good base runner, not a good base stealer. Sometimes people think those are the same thing, but he's a good base runner, cuts the base as well. Pretty accurate arm. My favorite play was the one where he lost his footing going for the double play ball and still managed as he was falling down to make a perfect one hop throw to Polo, whether his foot was on the bag or not, doesn't matter. I mean, technically it was. Technically, it was.
They ruled it was. So
that's a final decision. So it was.
We'll just
said it was. So it was. And hey, you know what? Polo got robbed of a home run earlier in the game. So give him that one. Why not?
Sure.
So Ben had a really good game last night. Great to see. You still should go get Gino. You still should be interested in Willie Castro. But Ben absolutely was a huge part of the reason he won last night and pretty easily the player of the game, in my opinion.
Yeah. Can you live with the black hole that he is offensively? Sure. I think they can, but they should absolutely go out and get Gino. Or
there's too many other potential black holes.
Willie Castro.
Second base could still be a black hole. DH could still be a black hole. Right field could still be a black hole. Like that's just too much risk for me to have a guy that almost certainly is a black hole offensively at third base. So, but if they go upgrade second base and DH still, okay. But they need a bat, and the best place to get it would be third base. But if they get it somewhere else, and it still works for the roster, fine. There's a shot that you can live with it, but I just don't see it as likely to happen. But again, hey, best game of Ben Williamson's career, kind of showed everything that he has for you. which isn't a ton at the plate, but again, good base runner, good defender. And I think ultimately the Dylan Moore replacement, maybe as soon as, Friday, but definitely as soon as next year.
For sure. Yeah, I'm going to be interested to see when they actually start experimenting with him at maybe shortstop or second base a little bit, so he can offer them a bit more flexibility. I don't think they're ever going to run him out in the outfield like they have with Dylan Moore, but if he can show that he can play some second, play some short, then yeah, he's absolutely going to be that.
Played a lot of short. Played a lot of short in college. It's a position he can handle. He'll be fine there. I did talk about this last night on our Patreon post game show. Patreon.com/ control the zone. I butchered that. I don't know what our tag is, but whatever. I think it's patreon.com/ control the zone.
That's what it is.
Yes. So there you go. We don't advertise that much on this. I don't know if you guys know that. But I mentioned this last night is that, Ben Williamson was drafted only like 2 years ago, almost to the day. And you look at what he's done in the minors, he's had about one full season worth of at-bats in the minor league, about 700 plate appearances, played in about 160 games. And typically when you draft a guy out of college, the idea is you need to give him 1,000 plate appearances in the minors before you have a good idea of who he is. And you draft a guy out of high school, it's closer to 1,500. And when you think about it, it takes college guys about 2 full years before they're, you have a good idea of who they are. It takes high school guys 3 or 4 years. And you add that up. High school guys get drafted at 18. They usually make their debut around 22. Makes sense. And college guys get drafted 22, 23. They make their debuts around the age of 25, 26 for the most part. So Ben Williamson is still very raw in terms of being a professional baseball player. So sending him down to AAA, let's say you get Gino, if you send him down to AAA, he can actually work on some things and he can actually maybe start to drive the baseball, and he could play some shortstop for you and some second, and you can get him used to that. So there is actually a benefit too of having acquiring a third baseman, is that you get Ben Williamson, who is rushed. Ben Williamson was flat out rushed to the big leagues because they needed him. Let's just be very clear about that. He was rushed. He had 14 games in AAA this year, and he wasn't even good in Tacoma. But they needed him. And, he's held his own. He's been about a replacement level player on FanGraphs. I think he's much more popular on Baseball Reference. The defense is the difference there.
It's because they account for... FanGraphs WAR formula factors in outs above average, which doesn't like Ben.
Yeah. Which is interesting.
Baseball References WAR formula factors in defensive runs saved, which says that Ben's the second best defensive third baseman in the entire league.
Yeah.
So there's a great disparity between those two. And that's why, Ben's F4 on FanGraphs is just 0.4, and his B WAR on Baseball Reference is 1.2. It might be up now from that after last night's game, but that's what it was last night.
He doubled his FanGraph WAR last night, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But he's survived. He's helped you survive the position, but there's still work to be done here. This isn't a finished product, even though he's almost 25 years old. He didn't really play that much in the minors, so there might still be more to go get, but he's not really going to do that at the big league level. You can't expect him to make swing changes at the big league level right now. You can't expect him to learn how to play shortstop at the big league level right now. So there is, also a benefit to Ben Williamson if you go get a third baseman, because there's still development that needs to happen there. But again, he's finding a way to contribute. He's hitting for a decent average. That's pretty much all he's doing offensively for you. And he's been really good at third base, sometimes plus, like he was last night. So no shade at Ben Williamson. It's just too early for him to be that guy.
Yeah, I think he stays on the roster, even if they go out and they get Gino or Castro, and maybe serves as a late game defensive replacement primarily. So those changes are probably just going to happen during the off season. But we'll see what they do, and we'll see who they all add here before Thursday. All right, we are going to wrap up our thoughts on last night's game by talking a little bit about Josh Naylor and give you our first impressions of Naylor as a whole. And then we'll talk about this trade market in just a moment. But first, a reminder, this episode of the Locked On Mariners podcast is brought to you by Gameday Hue. Today's episode is brought to you by Gameday Hue, and so is this hat that I'm wearing. For Mariners fans like me, this one hits the mark. Gameday Hue makes clean, no-logo gear with team-inspired colorways for every pro and college fan base. It's all about letting your colors speak for you. No giant logos, just smart, versatile style that works on game day, on the course, or anywhere in between. The hat pairs perfectly with my usual gear. It doesn't replace my team's logo stuff. It just adds to the lineup. It's the kind of hat that reps your team without screaming it. Subtle, but still says everything. And it's not just hats. Check out their split shade gloves, made for the golf course or the perfect gift for the fan who has everything. Right now, you can get 15% off with promo code MLB15 at GamedayHue.com. That's GamedayHue.com. The code even stacks on bundle deals, so now's the time to load up. Let your colors talk, because colors speak louder than words. That's GamedayHue.com. Promo code MLB15. And you're listening to the Locked On Mariners podcast. For instant reactions following every Mariners game, be sure to tune in to the Mariners postcast with Anderson Hurst and Christopher Crawford, available on both the Locked On Mariners YouTube and podcast feeds. So before we talk about the trade market and how much that has stagnated, let's talk about the guy that kind of kicked off deadline season. That's Josh Naylor, who has really helped so far in his first few games in a Mariners uniform. He's only played 4 games, but he already has how many hits? Five hits. He had his first home run in a Mariners uniform last night.
5 for 15.
He also has 4 stolen bases. He's made quite the impact on the bases, including last night, which led to the Mariners' second run of the night. What have your just general impression? Again, it's only been 4 games, but what have your general impressions been of Josh Naylor?
I don't think I've seen him smile once since he's been traded here. He looks angry at all times.
He looked mad when he hit the home run. He looked like he was upset with himself.
He's like, I only hit that one 408. Ugh. It should have been 415 all day. But just a very intense dude. Like, first and foremost, like he like did the trying thing, and he's like, "Here, you take that.
Take this from me."
Yeah, like it was beneath him or something. So I don't know. Like, you saw Julio trying to like talk to him, and he was laughing, and he just stonewalled him. But more importantly, on the field, he's gotten a hit in every game that he's played. He's gotten a stolen base, I think, in every game that he's played. And what's funny about Josh Naylor is he has a shot to be 2020 this year. He is 3rd percentile in sprint speed, and he's got 12 home runs now, and I believe, 15 stolen bases?
15 stolen bases.
Yeah, 8 home runs and 5 steals in the last 54 games. Not impossible. And side note on that, by the way, the Mariners do have an outside shot of being the first team in Major League history with 4 players on their roster who all went 2020 or better in the same season. Yeah, the record's 3. So
Randy's 1 stolen base away from a 2020 season. Mm-hmm. Julio's 2 home runs away.
2 homers. Yeah. Yep. Cal needs, I think, 7 more steals to get there.
He tried last night, didn't get it.
Yeah, I didn't like that decision to go. I mean, Randy's up, the pitcher's struggling, and to top all that off, it was an awful slide that was sketchy. So it's like
very bad slide.
Like, it's one thing to get caught stealing in a questionable, decision. It's another thing to like potentially hurt yourself with that awful slide. But anyways, Naylor, he's been good. Like, there's no denying it. Yeah, his personality is taking some getting used to, and obviously he's trying to settle in himself and all that. But we do know that he is a very intense guy. Like, that is not a secret. It is well known. He plays with almost anger on the baseball field. But he's a real professional, and like, he's a very good hitter who finds a way to give you a good at bat. And last night he, was probably your best offensive player. He had a couple hits, the big home run, stole some bases, stole 1 base, created a run with his legs, which, again, the guy is 3rd percentile in sprint speed.
Yeah.
But he's a very good base runner. He's an aggressive base runner. He's an aggressive hitter. He's
just a very smart ball player in general.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He is. He's a pro's pro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like another example of that. His footwork at first on that throw by Demo, that kind of sailed, and also make sure that he keeps himself safe and keeps the runner safe. Like, it's a very smart play.
Yeah, he's a 28-year-old who's playing the game like he's 38 years old, and this is year 15. Like, he just knows all the tricks and all that. But yeah, I mean, he's been as advertised. Like, there's really very little to complain about. Struck out a few more times than you would like for the guy with his track record, but that's just cluster luck. Like, whatever. Yeah. We'll see how he looks at T-Mobile. I know he took the jab at it when he first got traded here. Hilarious, by the way.
So was that a shot at Teoscar? Do we know?
I don't think that was a shot at Teo. I think that was just him being sarcastic. Like, oh yeah, I love T-Mobile. You really see the ball well there, because you look at his career numbers. He doesn't see the ball all that well there, or at least he hasn't. Or I don't know. Maybe he does, and he's just bad. I don't know. But like, yeah. So we'll get to see that this weekend. But yeah, so far 4 games in, he's given you everything you could hope for offensively. He's given you everything you could hope for defensively, and he's giving you more than you could ever hope for on the bases. And he's got a shot to be the funniest 2020 player of all time. And what if the Mariners don't make the playoffs, or if they do, that's something worth tracking. Sure. I'm pretty fascinated by Josh Naylor, honestly.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. The intensity and like the elite base stealer with the opposite of elite speed, in the raw power that he has, that he occasionally decides to show off. Like, all of it is a very intriguing player. And again, I do think Jerry would love to re-sign this guy in the offseason. Is he going to want to sign up to play at T-Mobile Park? I guess that a lot of that might be decided over the next 2 months. But yeah. And also, does Jerry going to have the money to actually be able to sign him?
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. But yeah, no, I like Josh. He's as advertised, and he's really helped, even though the record might not indicate it right now. But he's really helped.
Also, that single that he hit last night, that ball is outside of the outer third of the plate, and he's able to pull it in the right field. Yeah, he's a fun player. Yeah, he's a fun player. I've really liked what we've seen so far, and again, he's already made a pretty big impact. So, can someone make a trade already, or like, what's going on? like what's up? Like, we got the Chris Paddock trade yesterday. Woo! This trade deadline sucks. Like, I think we kind of already knew that was going to be the case, because it was only, like, the best players in the market are rentals, and that is only exciting to a certain degree. And even as far as rentals go, it's not like, Juan Soto is on the market. It's not like we're talking about the possibility of Ohtani getting traded like we talked about a couple of years ago.
Not yet, anyways.
Not yet, yeah. But still, yeah, this has been bad, even relative to my expectations, my very low expectations heading into this. Hopefully this means that we're in for a wild next 50-ish hours, but yeah, I mean, according to Kim Rosenthal, there's still teams that are on the fence about what exactly they're going to do, whether they're going to sell, or I mean, there's some teams that are like, yeah, we're going to buy, but we just don't know exactly how aggressive we're going to buy. Like, the Rangers are one of those teams. Apparently the Rangers might actually look to trade John Gray or Adolis Garcia to get further under the luxury tax threshold, so they can actually add some talent. But yeah, I don't know what's going on. And obviously, Gino gets hit on the hand yesterday. That's kind of the big thing. And obviously, I think that's what's ultimately holding up at least the hitter side of the market right now. Like, teams are waiting for Gino to get traded. X-rays came back negative on Gino's finger, but they're undergoing more tests today. And so I would assume that until, teams get all the info, he's not going to get traded, which means that he's probably not going to get traded until tomorrow at the earliest.
It's a strange deadline. Like, it really is. And it's funny because there are more sellers this year than there have been in the past. And yet they're acting as if there's fewer sellers because their prices are, for right now, prohibitively high. Like it's one of those things where it's funny that like we're hearing like, hey, I mean, there's more sellers than there are. Again, that's a fact. Like there are more sellers this year than there have been in the past, but there's fewer like big assets out there than there have been in the past, and that's shrinking the cost and or that's that's raising the cost of the few premium assets that are out there, and teams just aren't willing to pay that because again, like, hey, why am I paying this when I can go? This team's selling too. I can go get this slightly worse guy for a much greater discount, and then the team with the slightly worse guy is like, well, we want to see what that guy goes for first, so we kind of know, and so eventually the dam's going to break, because especially for the Genos and the Kellys and the Mullins and the O'Hearns, like those types, they're going to get moved, like without question, and Bednar is definitely going to get moved at some point too. Jackson and Duran, whatever. Maybe they get moved, maybe they don't. I mean, the Twins don't have to move either of them, but it sounds like they want to. Their asking price is really high right now, but we'll see who blinks first. But ultimately, I think the sellers are the team that's going to have to move off their prices a little bit, because without like every single player that is like out there right now, shortly after we learn they're out there, we're like, yeah, their price is viewed as ridiculously high or prohibitively high. So teams are pivoting, and it's like, well, at some point you want to get something rather than nothing for these guys, especially guys who aren't qualifying offer eligible. Like you're not going to QO Cedric Mullins or Ryan O'Hearn. You're not going to QO this version of Zach Gallen. You're not going to QO, Luis Robert, although the White Sox probably would. So yeah, it's one of those things. I think the sellers are going to have to blink first and get the guys like Jackson and Duran, like the big name relievers with more than a year and a half of club control. Their asking is probably set in stone, and it'll just see if a contender blinks first on that or not. But the guys with 2 months left, or the guys with a year and 2 months left, I think their prices are going to go down as we get closer to the deadline, because I think teams are just going to say we need to get something out of this, and we'll see which team blinks first. And it only takes one team to jump the gun, and all of a sudden everybody's trade value gets reset again, and we're having the same conversation. But 50 hours to go, give or take, and one legit like middle of the order impact bat has been traded. Seattle landed him. So good on Seattle. You imagine the panic right now if Seattle didn't already have Naylor in their back pocket?
I don't want to.
Get deals done ASAP. Okay. There's value to having players for longer, but also to being ahead of the market. And the Mariners got Naylor for what I think most people consider to be about what market value should be for a player like Naylor. And meanwhile, Ryan O'Hearn is still an Oriole because their asking price is ridiculous. So again, there's value in jumping the market, and Seattle did that. And thankfully they're one of the only teams that has gotten something done. They've got something in their back pocket, which gives them a little bit of a advantage over the teams that are desperately trying to find anything to do. Seattle's already got something done, and they still have all the ammo and all the resources they could possibly need to do whatever else they want to do. So I'm still expecting Seattle to make at least one more major trade, maybe two, but I think they're also going to make I don't know about major trade. They're going to make a complimentary trade to their roster, and they might make a trade to move some salary off of their roster as well. So we'll see how it all plays out for them. But it's been a really slow deadline. I still expect the Mariners to make a splash move here in the next 50 hours.
So what's interesting to me is that the Mariners have allowed it on multiple occasions now to be reported that they are highly optimistic about what they're going to be able to accomplish at this deadline. We're going to be aggressive. I'm all in, is what Jerry DiPoto told Jim Bowden at the Hall of Fame ceremony a couple of days ago. Adam Jude and Daniel Kramer have reported that they're going to be incredibly aggressive. Bob Nightingale said that a Mariners executive told him that they're going to be very aggressive. This is a team, this is an organization that has very recently tried to manage their fan base's expectations. Adam Jude and Daniel Kramer straight up knew how little money the front office had to spend this winter.
Mm-hmm.
Set a very specific number that clearly came from someone within the Mariners organization with the intent of setting expectations within this fan base. They have, in ways, bent over backwards to tamp down expectations within the fan base at times, especially since the 54% debacle.
Yeah.
The Mariners have now put a lot of pressure on themselves. If they don't kill it, I mean, there's going to be hell to pay with this fan base.
Yeah.
And killing it is not just Josh Naylor and, hey, we got Andrew Kittredge and Miguel Andujar.
Yeah. It feels like they need to walk away with either Gino or one of the elite relievers that is out there right now. And if they don't come away with that, then they failed. Even though, again, we like Naylor, Kittredge, and I don't know, Andujar or whatever, right? Like, that's a pretty good deadline. It's pretty solid. But you set the bar up here, and the problem with setting the bar that high is you have to reach it. And if you don't, it's a failure, right? And so when you use language like we're all in, we're going to be really aggressive on this, all this really, fun language that is awesome for us to hear because it gives us hope, you have to hit it. You can't come away with that and going like, well, Phil Maton and Luis Urias or Luis Urias, like, yay. Like, no, that doesn't do it. Like, you have to actually nail it. And we set the bar up here again. If you walk away with Naylor and Jax and then like a supplementary piece, like, fine. I think that's pretty close to nailing it. You walk away with Gino and Naylor and I don't know, maybe a Kittredge, fine. That's pretty much nailing it. Like, I think that's a really good deadline. So it's funny because the Mariners put themselves in a position where they could still have a totally like reasonable and smart deadline without going out and getting the Genos and then or the Jacks or the Durans or anything like that. Like, they could still do that, but it's still going to be viewed as a disappointment because of the level that they came out with, because they raised the bar so high and they didn't reach it. It's going to be viewed as a disappointment, and if it's viewed as a disappointment, it's a failure. So it really is weird that they've they
painted themselves into a corner
a little bit. Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see what they can do.
And again, this is an organization that for the last couple of years has tried its best to not give the fan base a reason to meme them. And they failed in a couple of instances still along the way. So I'm not putting it past them to once again fail in that regard. But still, like, they have, I mean, like, Jerry DiPoto hardly goes on the radio now because of all of that, right? Like this organization tries to speak to the media as little as possible, or has over the last couple of years.
First of all, Ty, breaking news.
Okay.
Not really.
Do we finally have a trade of some kind?
No, actually, no. We have a hashtag Mariners, though, from a national guy.
Let me guess. Morosi?
No, even better. Bowden. So here we go.
Well, Bowden actually talks to Jerry, so maybe.
Yeah. This is a good note to end on, because it kind of, again, it's the Mariners are hyping us up. Anyways, the Red Sox, Yankees, Blue Jays, Phillies, and Mariners are speed dialing the Twins at an annoying level with continued interest in Joe Ryan, basically their whole bullpen, Willie Castro, and Harrison Bader. Twins could end up being headliners at the deadline as talks heat up, according to sources.
Yeah,
I think
again,
the source is Jerry.
Yeah, I think they are trying to pair Castro and one of the arms, or Bader and one of the arms, or maybe Bader, Castro, and one of the arms. Maybe it's a threefer.
All makes sense.
Yeah, all of that would help. So yeah, I think if we're going to see a deal where the Mariners get two substantial major leaguers back, it's going to be with Minnesota.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah.
But also, I'd like to point out You can do all that, still go get Geno.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for our show. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Locked On Mariners podcast. For Colby Patnode, I'm Titan Gonzalez. Be sure to give us a follow on Twitter at LO_Mariners. You can follow me at Titan Gonzalez and Colby at CPAT11. That's CPAT11. We're also on Blue Sky. You can follow me at TDG, Colby at MLB Colby, and the show at Locked On Mariners. You can also find us on Instagram at Locked On Mariners. Have yourself a beautiful baseball day, and we'll see you next time. Peace.